Well, hello to the Morning Cup. I am just as thrilled as I am every Thursday morning to welcome today's guest today. You're going to get some solid tips on branding your business and from an expert. And by an expert, I do mean a premier expert in branding. And then you're also going to learn a little bit about the best way to show your face up on your profile picture. Okay, I didn't know what that meant, but I have an expert photographer who is here today too. I call her an artist. It's Barbara McFerrin because her artwork is spectacular. Her photography is light artwork, basically. So we're talking branding and marketing from two experts that are joining us here today on the Morning Cup. Now, I hope you have a cup with you. I'm going to show you. If you don't know me, I love a good cup. And look at that. Be present. Gotta love the Red Circle Boutique. That's where I got this. Target. All right. Let's welcome today's first guest. I'm welcoming to the stage Barbara McFerrin. Hello, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara. I love that we have the same name.
It's so fun to say your own name. I know, right? Girl, you know what I love about our relationship? I met you by finding you online. I was Googling photographers, found you now 6 years ago when I started Second Act Women. When we started the company, it was with an event, which, by the way, is coming up next week, Biz LiveCon. And I had asked you if you could, have a vendor booth there. And fast forward, we have still stayed in contact.
Yes, thank you. It's been awesome knowing you. And I know I haven't been, always at events because I'm just crazy busy.
You have life.
You're always in my, I have you in the back of my mind always. Barbara, I need to reach out to Barbara when we need to have coffee still. I mean, it's like
yes. Well, what happens is every time we say that we're going to do something, one of us has to change up. Barbara, you're a woman over 40. What I found interesting, because I was looking particularly for women over 40 to take part in that first Biz LiveCon. Of course, again, you're taking part in next week's. I want to ask you, you have a new project coming up. No, you know what? Let's tell them a little bit about your background, because you weren't a photographer by trade at all. And I'm just amazed at how this has become your thing now. Tell us a little bit about your background in 30 seconds or less. It's fascinating. I know.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Photography was always a hobby of mine since I was 17. My dad gave me a camera for my birthday when I turned 17, and I fell in love with it. And, but my career was in IT. I was in information technology, and, that paid the bills, and it was just always a hobby kind of on the back burner. And then fast forward in 2013, when I had my daughter, I just didn't want to do the IT thing anymore. It wasn't my passion. And I wanted to be home with her more. So I basically took a leap of faith and found some business training on how to start a business online. And not an online business, but I found the information online. And so I started my photography business in late 2016, 2017, and just pretty much have gone from there. Just have grown and finessed my style, and here we are. So.
You really have finessed your style. I mean, I can't tell you, again, I can't tell the audience how spectacular your work is. It's true artistry. And so I feel honored that you're going to be taking part, frankly, in Second Act Women. I mean, look at this artwork. This is spectacular. And the idea that you're going to be taking profile pictures at Second Act Women. I mean, look at this, everyone who's watching. This is photography. How do you do this? If I may just divert for a second, how do you take a photo and turn it into true art?
Well,
for layman, I guess.
A lot of it has to do with the lighting. You have to have you have to have control of your lighting. So this can't be done like, I mean, you can sort of do a little bit of it maybe outdoors, but it has to be controlled lighting. A lot of it has to do with the wardrobe and the background. And then, once you have a good base with lighting, wardrobe, background, then in Photoshop, I work my magic to make it kind of look like a painting. So that's the kind of the style I've always wanted to try and sort of replicate.
Yes. Well, you've won international awards even for this. And I would love for you to do a humble brag and say, what was the award you just received? You received one, I believe, just over the last year, some sort of international award. What was that award again?
So there's several organizations, photography organizations worldwide that you can submit images to, and they're all different. But recently I got a gold award for creative portrait in the UK. It's called the Guild of Photographers.
Georgina is from the UK coming up next.
Yes, and I have I don't know if I have it here. I don't have it on me, but I did last year get a front cover of a photography magazine in the UK. They reached out to me for an interview, and I have a front cover on a magazine, which was really exciting. So yeah, so it's just really participating. I'm in a whole bunch of photography groups and organizations and just put the work out there, and somebody will see it, and hopefully so
well, and you know what that is, what I'm hearing for those that are business owners or starting out or wanting to switch careers, what I'm hearing is that you really took the bull by the horns and dived in and became a part of organizations and to grow your craft in essence and get to where you are today, because that wasn't too long ago that you started your company. Again, over 40. Most companies that are successful are started over 40. And what I think is fascinating too is this new project that you have that I'm about to sit for. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. It's the 40 over 40 Return to Portrait Experience. Tell us about that and how others can maybe take part in this wonderful project that you're doing.
Yes, the 40 over 40 Return to You portrait experience is just returning to ourselves. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, basically it was just born out of a desire to celebrate women's beauty, individuality, because over 40, and a lot of times we're not seen, as you know. And a lot of us feel like, I don't know, like we've been taking care of our children or our families, our parents, and we don't take care of ourselves. We don't do something special for ourselves. So this is just kind of a way for you to celebrate yourself and to do something just for you, and just to feel that confidence that comes from a portrait session with me, that so many women leave feeling so much more empowered and confident after a portrait session.
So, how can they take part in this and get an artist portrait experience done by you as part of this project? And what is the next step? Like when you gather all of these portraits together, what will happen? I mean, share with us what happens next.
So 40 over 40, it just means 40 women over the age of 40. So once I photograph 40 women in this phase, we're going to have at the end an exhibit or a celebration, kind of like a gala, where I'm going to choose the favorite portrait from each of the women's sessions and print it in a large print, and it's going to be on display, kind of like in a museum gallery. So there'll just be a piece of art in this gallery, in this gala, and then they can invite their friends, and they'll be invited to come celebrate and just, enjoy it, viewing all the other women's portraits, and kind of a networking event as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Once I reach that close to the 40 mark, I will, of course, let everyone know where that'll be and where that'll take place. But yeah, and really anyone who's interested and who wants to share their story, because there will be a little bit of an interview about your story that will be published on a blog and will be part of the project. Sorry, I'm losing my words here. And I'm thinking about possibly having a magazine as well. So there's a lot of moving parts, but it's just amazing. And all the women so far who participated have loved it, and they've really just enjoy the experience. So
It seems like
yeah.
it. And it's, again, it's spectacular work. I do want to ask, because we are talking branding and the importance of branding and marketing, and photography is a part of that, frankly, because your profile picture is a part of your personal brand.
Mhm.
And so I wanted you to share with those watching what types of facial expressions, since it's really what, like, heads up, unless you're me and you're doing full body shot or something. It's what, waist up. What are some of the tips that you would have for someone who will be at BizLifeCon getting a profile picture done by you or any photographer? What tips do you have for us?
So typically the headshot, technically it is a shoulders up shot. So it's really just your head basically. So if it is just a headshot, I mean, there are ways you can actually stand to, for that pose to appear, confident and approachable. So, having your back straight, obviously, but also your neck. You're going to hear me say a lot. And when you come to the studio and do your session, I'm going to say chin out. And that just basically means like a turtle. You're going to push your chin forward. Yeah. So it feels weird, but in the photos, it looks really good, because what that does is it actually minimizes any, appearance of a double chin. Not that no one has one, but
no, I know what you mean.
It just pulls that skin a little bit taut. And then I'll say chin down a little bit. So it's out and then down. And so watch my eyes. If I'm like this, here, let me take my glasses off. I'm like this. You can see my eyes, right? Okay. What's the difference between that and that?
Oh my gosh. Considerable.
Yeah. So, you're engaging with the lens much more when you pull your chin down and bring your eyes up. It's more intense, but of course, if you're smiling, it's not intimidating. But so yeah, there's a big difference from being up and then really engaging and smiling with your eyes. I say that a lot, and it's hard to explain how to do that. But
Tyra Banks used to always say smize, and I actually get it. I would recommend to people to do exactly what you told them to do and practice that with your own photo, your own cell phone before you take your next profile shot, because you're right.
And then think about it, when you do a selfie, we always want to do it up this way, because we are looking kind of at that angle, but it's not going to be that extreme, because a lot of times what happens when we do this is we have a bobblehead. Our head's bigger than the body, so that's not what you want. But that kind of mimics sort of that angle.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, I'm going to try that. And I think when you do this for yourself, you will start to recognize the smize, because I know exactly what you mean. And I think anybody, if you're watching or those that are watching, do try this, neck out and head down, right? Take several shots, even if you're moving and smiling, and you will see the smile in your eyes. You will see the natural sense as you're scrolling through. I think they'll have a better understanding, right?
Oh yeah. I was just going to say, during a session with me, I do what I call expression coaching. So we go through a range of expressions and really get a genuine expression out of the person in front of the camera. And I make everyone feel really comfortable, because so many people, including myself, don't like to be in front of a camera. So I make it as comfortable and as painless as possible.
Well, you have the ability to make people comfortable. Do you want to show a few more?
Sure.
I've got you on screen. I would love for people to see what they get, because what I love, this is only, what is it, $99?
Well, the $99 is the headshot special,
right,
at the BizCon. Now it does not include hair and makeup, unfortunately, but
correct.
But yeah, the 40 over 40 is a little different. That's a whole experience. I mean, you're going to spend several hours with me in the studio with lots of outfits. There'll be lots of different poses. You get your hair and makeup done. I mean, it's a whole beautiful pampering session. So yeah, that is a bit more. So the headshot session is just a little taste of what we can do, but you'll get a lovely headshot for your LinkedIn or your Facebook or wherever you want to use it.
I love it. Okay. Well, they can catch you at BizLifeCon. They can book in advance because, look at that. I mean,
just a few sessions from some of my past clients and branding clients, whether they're branding or personal, their business. So I got some guys in there as well. Dating, more personal, more creative artwork. So really a little bit of everything.
Woohoo! Well, they can book with you for this, or for if they're going to BizLifeCon October 20th and 21st, or they can book a session with you, which of course is going to cost them more because you're an artist. So you're doing us a favor with the professional profile picture shots for $99.
Now, if someone does book a headshot with me during BizLife or anyone that already has, you do get $100 credit towards a 40/40 session, future 40/40 session if you want to do that with me at a little bit of a later date. So.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Those were such great tips. They can catch you at Barbara McFerrin photography.com. We are going to say goodbye to you for a moment, and we're going to bring on our branding expert. I want to say thank you, Barbara, for everything. So next up, for those of you that are looking to either open a business, or what if I want a headshot, but I'm out of town until Halloween? You can still reach Barbara McFerrin. Barbara McFerrin Photography. It's a Facebook user, so she's inside of Facebook, this particular group of Facebook. So go ahead and tag her in a post, and she will get back with you. So she is inside of there. Yes, wonderful. We are talking branding and marketing, or branding. We talked marketing last week. We're talking branding, and we do have a brand specialist that I'm bringing to the stage. I want to welcome Georgina. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
How are you this morning?
I'm well, thank you. It's a nice, cool fall morning.
And I love it. This is my favorite time of the year. Is fall, because we get to wear the fall clothing and turtlenecks and all of that. Georgina, we have actually done work together, myself, you, and your business partner, Gilly, who is an insider of Second Act Women. She's a woman over 40 who's a fantastic graphic designer. She's actually responsible for a lot of our branding components that you'll see within Second Act Women. And so give us a little background of who you are. And I do want to let folks know that I want you to stick around. I want you to ask questions of Georgina. She and Barbara will be back. And I want you to stick around also because I want to share with you what I did for my 57th birthday. And this has something to do with it. So let's talk to you about your background, Georgina.
Yeah, definitely. So I've come a slightly kind of circuitous route to what I'm doing now, not as much as Barbara. I've always been in the kind of the communications marketing realm, but I actually started my career on the other side of the pond, as you can hear.
No.
Exactly. In European PR agencies. So that's where I kind of started my career and grew up. And then I moved over here about 8 years ago, and I became head of marketing at a startup, which was a really fun kind of shift. And then at the beginning of 2020, I decided to start my own business, helping small businesses with their branding and their marketing. Because what I found when I was working with small businesses is that they would come to me and they would say things like, should I be on Facebook? Should I be blogging? Should I be doing this? And so my first question back to them is, I don't know, where's your audience? Who's your audience? Like, what are you trying to achieve? Because there are so many marketing channels out there, and it can be a little bit overwhelming for small businesses to kind of work out where they need to be to greatest effect. And so I I offer both brand and marketing strategy because particularly with small businesses, they may not have had to think about this stuff seriously, either because they're kind of starting out or they've been doing fine for the last however many years, but they want to up level in their business. And so they want to do things better, and they
Yeah.
need to start thinking about things, because the biggest mistake that a company can make is just thinking their brand is their logo, because it's not. It's so much more. Like, your brand, in the same way that you as a person have an identity and a personality and a reputation that you build, that is your brand for your company. It is the
Yes.
company's identity. So it is everything. It is the logo, it's the name, it's the professional headshots that you put out there of you as the
Yes.
owner. It's the experience that your clients have with you on a day-to-day basis. It's what you put in your Facebook captions, it's what you put in your emails, your blogs, your website. It's everything. And the other part of that is it's really important to be thinking of that within the context of what your audience wants from you. Because
Mhm.
often people, when they start their businesses, they kind of go with the color scheme that they have in their house or they like, and they're
Yes.
just like, oh, well, it's me. And that's fine if you don't have to. I mean, authenticity is important, but you're selling something at the end of the day. So your customers have got to want to buy it. So your brand has to speak to your customers. And so I say that's kind of for small businesses. I know I've answered like 5 unasked questions
No,
there, Barbara.
this is good. You know what I want you to do is explain to folks that don't know the difference between branding and marketing, because there
Yeah.
is they're under the same umbrella, so to speak, but sort of one comes before the other at time, and they're very different, yet
Yeah.
they go together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a great question, because even though I've spent my whole career in communications in one form, I didn't understand what branding was for a long time. So business owners who have their businesses, I don't know, it's caring for dogs. Like, why should they know what branding is as opposed to marketing? And unhelpfully, there's lots of different interpretations of these words. But basically, the branding side of things is like your foundational identity. It's stuff that it's not it's sometimes a little bit nebulous, because it's about your mission, vision, values, those things about who you are. It's about who your audience is, your personality, the tone of voice you put out in the world. So it's the things that kind of form who you are. And then what marketing does is it's more the stuff that brings it out into the world. So once you've established who you are as a business and who your audience is, it's how the kind of the rubber hits the road. So you have your tone of voice, you have your messaging, and all that's part of your branding. It's then the marketing is, okay, let's go put that stuff on Facebook and like bring it to your audience. It's bridging that gap between you and your brand and actually reaching your audience. Did I break that
Um,
down?
Great. Yes, yes. And both are important, as we said, about branding and marketing your company. And I love that you talked about the tone, the temperament, the colors. Don't just go for the colors that you particularly love. Like, I love pink. Now, again, I loved it as a kid. I had a pink carpet. Do I want my brand to be pink? No, because that may not particularly speak to my audience. It may speak to a portion of pink lovers, but yeah, so it's all about the story you're trying to tell within the walls of your own business. And so you're going to be teaching a session at BizLifeCon called is your brand strong enough? And I'm curious, what do you mean by is your brand strong? The word strong enough mean?
Yes, it's a fun one. I intentionally wanted it to be a little bit kind of controversial and ambiguous, um, because to me, a strong brand is one that is resilient, that is we're kind of going to stand the test of time a little bit and last, but also one that is different. one that is going to help you stand out from your competition and help you get business. Because if all your brand is just a logo on a sheet of paper, then you're missing an opportunity to really stand out from the crowd. Because in many industries, there are lots of different people who are doing exactly the same thing. And
Right.
that's fine. That's just the reality of the market. But it's how you do it that you can really stand out. I mean, Barbara, awesome photographer. There are other photographers out in the world, but she is really establishing her own brand and her own niche and her own way of doing things. The way that she makes people feel really comfortable in sessions, the way that she kind of the artistry of her work, she stands out
Yeah.
from other photographers.
I absolutely, and that's a great example of, you're right, with Barbara herself. Another question would be, what are some of the top things that really companies, big and small, doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur or Nike, what are some of the things that they get wrong in branding?
Yeah. So the main thing that they do get wrong, as I kind of alluded to earlier, is not thinking about their audience and what their audience wants from them.
Yeah.
Because then they get too focused on what they drink their own Kool-Aid too much. And when you start doing that, then you kind of you don't have a chance to resonate with your audience because you're not even making an effort to connect with them. So that's kind of a key thing that often goes wrong. The other thing that can happen is not to think about the context you're operating in and what other people are doing around you.
Yeah.
This was something actually I saw on LinkedIn yesterday. Somebody put the Whole Foods logo next to the Sprouts logo, and they're basically the same. It's like
What?
green with like the O has some leaves in, and it's really interesting because obviously they're appealing to a similar audience, but they've ended up with something that's really quite similar visually and kind of from a look and feel perspective, and you're like, okay, interesting that that's what you've chosen to go with. So I think,
Right.
again, an awareness of your audience and also what other people are doing around you. Like, do take 5 minutes just to see what other people's logos are. Something that happens a lot in Colorado, particularly, is everybody wants something to do with mountains. And so there are a lot of like mountain names, mountain logos. And if you are a business that is like into snowboarding, or you're based in Leadville, or like the mountains are central to who you are, go for it. Otherwise, maybe try and think of something a bit more creative.
I completely agree. And you know what? Going back to those logos of Sprouts and Whole Foods, I believe I may have tagged you. Either you all found this or I found this from somewhere else, and I tagged you and Gilly on it and on LinkedIn maybe a year ago. And it was all of the brands and their logo type, their font types. And the fonts were not as wacky as I mean, they were normal fonts that these companies are using, the Nikes, the Whole Foods, the Sprouts, so it's not as if too that you need to have this funky,
No.
font, like Feeling Passionate, literally that's a font inside of Canva. Or, they have Tahoma. They're using, all these normal fonts. Verdana, which I don't know if that's how you actually say that font. Poppins, we use Poppins. So it's interesting that even the font choice doesn't have to be fancy. Now it needs to speak to that, and the icon, which is the mark, which is, do you want to explain what the icon is in a brand like Nike, for instance?
Yeah, well, Nike, it would be the swoosh. Be like the
exactly.
check mark that they have, because often and Gilly Wolf, who I do a lot of work with, she's a graphic designer in the Alchemy Collective. She is the expert on this, so I hope she's not watching this and telling me I'm getting things wrong, but often a logo is comprised of two parts. You'll have the like the word mark bit and the icon bit. So you've got the words of your name. I know that, yeah, I'm just trying to think of a good, well, Nike. So you've got Nike, the word, and then you've got the swoosh. And sometimes they can come together or they can be used separately. Of course, you do have logos that are just words. That's fine.
Yes.
The Alchemy Collective, that is our logo. We do not have like a little icon. But to your point around fonts, the main thing with your visual branding and all of your branding is that it's a vehicle, it's a conduit to get to your audience. So if your brand is super wacky, like Monster Energy, they have a bright green, aggressive
Yes.
with claw marks, like that is them.
Monster scratches. Yeah.
Exactly. And the font's all spiky and it's all very catchy and high. But if you're a yoga studio,
Red Bull gives you wings.
yes, Red Bull gives you wings. But if you're a yoga studio, maybe don't use the vibrant purples and like bright greens, but instead maybe kind of go with something more melodic, more kind of in line with your brand. The other point is as well that particularly when it comes to websites and actually having to read text, you want it to be as accessible as possible. So you don't want to use script fonts or in your emails just because you might want to be seen as a bit creative. It's more important to get your message across and be able to read what you're putting than to have a fancy font.
I completely agree. Sometimes when I see people get so fancy with their fonts, I just want to ping them. I want to DM them and say, "Oh, I can't read what your company name is," or or they'll even have a mark that makes no sense that doesn't even go with their yes. And I saw that Laura, I'm guessing it's Laura Cheadle, uses Lotto. That's another popular one. Is it Lato or Lotto? Do you know I don't know how to pronounce these fonts. I just know when I see them what they are. So color story. Color is also important in branding. And there is, I know you can find it on Canva and other places. You can pull up what colors particularly mean. So, depending on what you're trying to tell in your color story too, they can also do that. Look that up. I want to know, as we come to a conclusion, looks like we have a question, is what else will they be learning at, it was me. Oh, it was Bonnie. Bonnie Schutz. I love it. So what will they be learning at BizLiveCon next week in your micro masterclass, as I like to call it?
Yes. So we're going to be going through what makes up a brand, the different parts of it, because as I said, it is so much more than just your logo. So we're going to be talking about those foundational identity parts, the kind of the mission, vision, values piece, the personality, kind of how that comes together. We're also going to be talking about the audience work you need to do, which is just as important. And then kind of the cherry on the cake, we're going to be talking about how you can really use those pieces to stand out. Because at the end of the day, all that other stuff is nice, but you want to stand out in the market and you want to get those clients in. So we're going to be talking about how branding can help you do that.
I can't wait, because I think a lot of us have a thirst, especially women over 40, 50, 60 plus. There's a thirst to continue learning. And so we can never learn enough. And I can't wait to sit there in the audience myself and watch your session. I've seen you and Gilly in action. So, we whiteboarded, what was that, like a 2-hour session, 3-hour session we did, and whiteboarded out the company and Second X Women, all of these things that we that will be coming forward later as the company continues to grow. And so I'm so excited when you said yes to doing this event. I was thrilled to have you represent. And so I'm going to bring back on Barbara. I think Barbara probably left for a second, so that's okay. There she is.
Hello.
Hello. I wondered if anybody out there had another question, or if there was one more point you wanted to leave everyone with before I just sort of share what I did for my 57th. Would you have one more point or anything you would like to share? Probably. You
Well,
probably, yeah, go ahead.
I would just say, if you're a woman over 40, I mean, generally, if you want to start a new career or at least start a new business, just take one step every day towards that goal. Whether it's taking a little class or like Georgina's talking about branding, start thinking about your brand, what you want your logo to look like. Just take baby steps towards starting that second act.
I love it. And you're absolutely right. And I do want to point out for those that know that we are, obviously, I've talked about it, a 40 plus community. We are intergenerational friendly. We believe in boosting all of our women. Georgina is not over 40, and
Really?
and I'm, we can all learn from all ages. And so I'm excited to have you two at Biz Live Con. That is coming up. Like, you're amongst all these amazing humans. We have Michael Beavis, our ally, huge ally, who will be giving free tools and resources that the city and county of Denver has, particularly for small business owners and women. He loves lifting up women. There are accelerator programs. There are grants. There's a co-working space that he's going to talk about that's coming this fall, literally weeks after Biz LifeCon, that he'll talk about. We have Julie Kaczynski, who's coming in from Minnesota. She's actually going to be a part of our Cocktails and Conversations, which is going to be the launch of something new with Second Act Women that Julie Duro and myself are doing, which we are going to start launching, doing Cocktails and Conversations and other events live streamed with an audience. And so Cocktails and Conversations will be the start of that. Julie did a deal with Serena Williams, and the actress Judy Greer is actually her partner at Weil. We have Marjorie and Dr. Mandy, and oh my gosh, podcast allies. If you want to start a podcast, Elaine Appleton Grant, she is your woman. She is known in the podcast world and happens to be a Denverite. She's going to be live on Saturday, the 21st. So lots going on at Biz LifeCon, and I'm excited to have you two there. And wow, this is going to be quite the event. And so we will see you guys. And I also want to say thank you to Energize Colorado. They gave us a $15,000 grant during COVID, and they do so much for the community of small business owners here within the walls of, within Colorado, thanks to our Governor Polis, Wendy Lee, and the new CEO, Bonnie Waters. So thank you guys for being there. Thank you for enjoying us here at the Morning Cup. You can catch the replay on my YouTube channel at Barbara Brooks. So we will say goodbye to everyone. Cheers.